Hello and welcome to another ICT lesson, and today I want us to look at cell reference, relative cell reference and absolute cell reference in MS Excel. I will share the screen of MS Excel showing a blank sheet which I will use to explain the three types of cell references. As you can see here, I have a screen in MS Excel, and you can see we have objects labeled A, B, C, D. We call them columns, and other objects are labeled 1, 2, 3, and we call them rows. Then when I click a single box like this one I call it cell, and each cell in the Excel sheet has what we call a cell reference. A cell reference is made up of a letter which represents the column where that cell belongs, and it is also made up of a number which represents the row in which that cell belongs. So far I am in cell reference C4. If I click another cell, I am moving to another cell reference. In this case, it will be E5, and I can see from this name box here, I'm referring to cell E5. Therefore, a cell reference shows the position of the cell which contain a certain value. If I type here in this cell 450, we will say 450 is in cell reference C5, and I can refer to that cell reference anywhere I want. For example, if I want cell H14 to contain what is in cell C5, I can just put equal sign, then click the cell, the value I want, and press enter. And you can see now cell H14 contains a value from another cell reference C5. And that is how we use cell references. For example, here I can even type here 230, and this 230 is in cell reference B7. I can create another cell reference here to contain what is in this cell by just putting equal sign like this and clicking the cell with the value I want, then press enter. Now I want you to note the following. If I click this cell, you can see here it is showing the value for 50 because what is in that cell is a number, okay, not a cell reference of another cell. But if I click this cell here as H14, when you see here in the formula bar, it doesn't contain a value, it contains a cell reference of cell C5. So don't confuse between a cell reference and a value in a cell. This one contains a value which is 450, but this one contains a cell reference in another cell. Now There are so many reasons you might want to use cell references. For example, in this case here, cell H14 contains a reference for cell C5. If the value of C5 changes, even this will change because it is like a mirror image of this cell. So in this case, let me change it from 450 to 200. When I press enter, you can as well see this one has changed because this one is just picking the image from this cell. In other words, we might say this cell contains cell reference of cell C5. If a value in C5 changes, even the content of that cell will change. If I put here 20, even here it will change. So cell references are very important because it makes us to manage data easily. Instead of keep on changing one thing across so many things, you can have several references pointing to one cell. When I make a change in that cell, the changes are reflected in all the other cells. Now let me discuss what we mean by a relative cell reference. In this example, you can see here we have some data and we are assuming it is an account of a customer who was purchasing things on credit from Duka wholesale stores, and the owner of the Duka wholesale stores maintains an account for Alex Johnny for every purchase he is making on credit. Then at the end of the month, the owner of the shop will simply compile a statement which shows the date, what was purchased on credit, quantity, unit price, total sale, and a discount if any, and the amount which Johnny will have to pay to settle the account. And in this case here, sale, if you want to calculate sales of any item, you take the quantity which somebody bought, then you multiply by a price of one of those items. So in this case we have 14 items of the same type, loaf of bread, but one cost 0.5 of a pound, UK pound. Now if I want the sale from this, I will take the quantity, then I multiply by unit price. And to do that, I will now put equal sign to start calculation. Then I will click a cell with the quantity. Then to multiply in Excel, we use a star. And I will click the unit price of one loaf of bread. Then when I press enter, it will calculate for me the answer here. I can as well go on and do the same for the other product, which is a can of margarine. Take the quantity, multiply by unit price, then press enter. Now instead of keep on doing that, it will consume a lot of time, and it is not a professional way of calculating because MS Excel is there to make our work easier. I can as well point to the previous answer, and you can see the calculation here. It is showing references. C7 it is referring to this cell, and D7 it is referring to this cell. this cell. Now, if I point to this formula handle, the one at the corner here, and drag like this, Excel will be applying what we call relative cell references. By dragging, it is assuming I am multiplying what is on the left and the one on the right. What is on the left and the one on the right. And you will notice something. If I click here for the cane of margarine, you could see it was C7 by D7. If I click the one which was done automatically by relative cell reference, you see it has changed from C8 to by D8. Click another one, C9 by D9. Click C10 by D10. So it is assuming when I pull down this handle, it is assuming I am going in that pattern downwards like that. And that is what we refer to as relative cell references. So what it is doing is simply assuming whatever is next to each other, the same operation will be done. So I can complete this by just dragging down the formula handle like this. Then it will calculate for me in that pattern by taking this one multiply by this, putting answer here. This one multiply by this, putting answer here. Now, apart from this relative cell references, we have another one we call absolute cell references. Okay. So in this example of a customer account here, let's assume this the owner of the shop offers a discount of 5%. For example, if somebody is supposed to pay £50, you can tell somebody just pay 45 instead of 50. So that £5 which you've reduced from what is supposed to be paid is what we call discount. And this one is normally given to customers to encourage them to come and buy from us always and to be loyal to our shop. So in the scenario here, we can see Duka Wholesale Stores is offering Alex Johnny a discount of 5%. And to calculate that, the discount is calculated on sale. So I will take this cell, then I multiply by the discount by just clicking this cell, and the reference for that discount appears here. Then I will multiply. That is excellent. You can see it is picking from E6 and multiplying it with a value in G3. If I decide to drag this formula now down like this, you can see I'm getting errors and abnormal figures. Do you know why? Now check this. If I click this, it picked from E7, which is a cell for a cane of margarine, and it is indeed correct, E7. But look here, it is multiplying by a reference G4. And where is G4? G4 is here. And G4 is empty. So what does that mean? It means it is applying what we call relative cell reference. So it is shifting downwards. If I click this, it is picking from E8, which is indeed cell for tin of tomato sauce, and it is multiplying by G7, G5. And if I click here, G5 is indeed the title for this column. So as I was dragging the formula, this other side was correct, but this other side was in a mess because it was applying relative cell references. And in that case, we will never use it here because it doesn't apply. We will therefore use what we call absolute cell references. So for the first calculation is correct because we are referring to G3 here. So the next thing I want us to do, I want us to apply absolute reference to this cell. By applying absolute reference, I mean I want when it is calculating, it should not leave this cell. It will be moving with the relative cell referencing here, picking the cells downwards, but it will be multiplying with a value from this cell only without shifting downwards. So I will have to change this reference to be absolute in what we call absolute cell reference. So I will do the first calculation. Let me repeat. To do the first calculation, I will just put equal sign, pick my cell. I want to multiply it by 5%. So I will click this cell with 5%. Then press enter. This is correct. Now the next thing is to change this cell reference in this calculation here to be absolute. And to do that, I will put a dollar sign before the letter to tell it not to shift from that column G, not to shift from column G. And I will also put a dollar sign between number 3 to tell it not to shift from this row 3, like this. So in this case, it will never shift from G and it will never shift from 3. I will press now enter. So if I click here, you can see it is picking from E6, which is a relative reference, and multiplying by G3, which is now absolute reference because of dollar signs. So if I pull down this formula handle now, like this, I get correct values. And you can confirm from this one, this is still G3 because of the dollar signs. Click another one. The first one changes, but this one is still G3. Even the last one, it is still G3. It is not leaving this cell. And that is what we call absolute reference, where you pin a certain cell not to be shifting in a certain calculation operation. Finally, here amount to be paid by the customer is obtained by taking sales minus the discount this person has been given. So I will just take the sale for this product minus the discount we gave this person. Then I will press enter. This one no problem because now we want to be calculating while moving left right in the operation, and we will be applying what we call relative cell references. So I will just pull down this handle like this, and it works. And here I don't need to use absolute reference because I'm doing it left, right, like that, shifting downwards. Finally, I will need to calculate total amount of cell here. I will just use the formula equal sign, then use a function sum. Then I will double click it from this option here. Then I will select all the figures to be added. Then I will just press enter. Here I will also apply what we call relative cell references. I will just drag this like this. Then it will know that I'm just doing what I did here. I'm just repeating it here and here through relative cell references. So finally, I have used cell references, relative cell references, and absolute cell references. Thanks a lot for participating in this lesson. See you next time. Bye bye.